Right.
So thumbs up. Paul, good afternoon. As things stand, Premier League clubs are still able to loan players from other clubs they're affiliated with, and unless you tell me any differently, Sheffield United were one of those who voted against bringing in any ban. How do you see that situation both now and moving forward?
Yeah, and that's honestly not even come to the table for me as a manager. I don't know which way we voted. I think if it had been something that would have directly affected me and what I was trying to do, then I would have wanted to be all over it and know what's happening. But my point of view, my opinion, no, it's not anything I've been interested in.
So that it's a simple case that those above you will go to that meeting and in no stage engage you in any conversation about it?
I don't know anything about that, no.
Do you see the opinion of some that it does give an unfair advantage to clubs who have a sort of stable of others that they can cherry pick players from at certain times of year?
Yeah, I do, but there's other things that give your club much more of an advantage. Do you know what I mean? I think, when you're talking about some of the size of the ownership groups at some clubs and resources at hand, to have the pick of a player from another club they potentially own is a minor advantage, I would say, compared to other things that I think would directly, say, impact us against someone else.
As you say, football clubs are becoming billion-pound businesses now, and owners who are coming into the game are wealthier and wealthier. Do you see this as becoming something that the game will have to live with moving forward, that more and more owners will be of multiple clubs?
It's certainly been something, it's more, I think, rather than performance and advantages over performance, I think it's been like just creating a portfolio of investments, portfolio of assets. And football, especially in Europe, has been an industry which in terms of money and growth has been huge over the last 20, 25 years. And people want to be a part of that and they want to invest the money in that. I think owning more and more assets within that it's just a business model rather than a performance model to gain advantage on the football pitch. But growing your assets, growing your wealth. So yeah, I think a lot of the reasons people get involved in football is because of that growth, especially when it's been investment. And one way to maximise that is to have multiple assets.
Do you see a stage where your owner, who already has other clubs under his wing, would bring other clubs in that potentially could benefit you, higher profile clubs?
Wouldn't have a clue. Wouldn't have a clue if it's something we're capable of doing or considering doing. No, I'm not. No, don't have those discussions.
On the pitch then, a critical couple of weeks for your team. How big do you see the next two games as being?
Only because of the next. In terms of us and where we are, we want to keep momentum going. The message has not changed. I think what the last two games have given us is because we've finished strongly in both games and been the team on top in the last two games, I've certainly took a lot from that. The players have, the fans have. But the biggest thing, we've kept ourselves in those games, either when Brighton were on top in the first half, we were still in the game, or we got ourselves in front at Wolves and got pegged back and managed to finish the strongest. That's the message. We need to be in games. We could have easily taken games with a different type of performance. We could have easily took points from Manchester City, from Spurs, teams like that who, so far this season, have been the teams that everyone's talking about. So there's lots of ways for us to take points in games. But we have to make sure we're in a position to do it, and that's the biggest message. So it's Bournemouth this next game. We're at home. We want to try and capitalise and take the points. But that won't change then with the away game at Burnley, the game after that, Liverpool at home. It won't change. We want to be in a position to take points.
On the subject of momentum, there's obviously nothing you can do about it, but there's only frustration that you get 4 points from two and then you have to wait for 2 weeks.
No, because it's pointless worrying about it. In your planning, you already know that international break's coming up, so it's one of the reasons, for example, Ollie Mcburnie and Anel were not quite ready, so why would we risk that? We've got 2 more weeks to make sure they are ready. 1 or 2 players carrying injuries to get those bodies rested a little bit is beneficial. So it's a case of, I think, it's there, plan for it, and how do we come out of that international break in the best position? So that's all we tried to do.
Just a final one from me then, on the group and the morale and momentum of the group again. There have been times this season where you've played well and got nothing from it. Does actually getting the points on the board reflect affecting the mood around the place, that players are seeing what they're doing is actually counting for something.
Yeah, you can't hide away from the fact that it's about results. We know that, yeah. But what we've had to try and do is keep focusing on the things that we've done well in games and the things we need to improve on in games. We could have had more points, of course we could, but there'll be many teams that can say that. So, yeah, I think what it has done, especially the way we finished those games, with being the stronger team, we take a lot from that, but I would like to still win games where Man City, organised, tactically good without a ball, trying to play on the break, we could have took something from the game. Same game away at Spurs, but we didn't, So there's lots of ways we need to try and take points. So yeah, the wins are great for us, of course they are, but we can't just rely on us being the better team to win the game.
Good luck Saturday, thank you.
Cheers, thanks.
Just to clarify then, have Mcburnie and Ahmedhodzic come through the break okay, and are they in contention for Saturday?
Yeah.
How much of a boost is it to get two players of such stature back?
Listen, they've been big. They've been big for us in the last, obviously now the last 18 months, the last couple of years, being big players. We want them all fit, want them available. I would love everyone fit and available, and it's no disrespect, but we're getting to 60 minutes in games looking round, and I'm looking at depth of squads other managers have had and what we've had, and we've not been able to do it. But with those back, if we can get some more back, our bench then is really competitive as well, and when we're making subs, we're having bigger impacts in the game.
And are those two, should they be required, available for 90 minutes, or are they still going to be drip-fed minutes?
In terms of are they able to start, yeah. Whether they play 90 or not.
There were a couple of other minor injuries post-Brighton. Souza and Bogle, how are they?
Yeah, Vinny's fine. Jaden's still carrying it. It's a minor thing that we're trying to manage him through, and he's been fine. I said, not missed anything, been training great. And you can see he arguably finished the game stronger than he started the game at Brighton. But it's something that we're carrying and want to manage, make sure we stay on top of it, but he's been fine.
And I appreciate Mcatee played for the under-21s, but has he come back from that all right? Because there was a little minor injury before he went.
No, he was cramp when he came off with cramp. He got cramp again when he was away with international duty as well. So yeah, nobody's fine, back training.
Well, okay, then of the players not mentioned then, is anybody likely to be back soon of your injured lads?
No.
Right. Osborn's impact off the bench the other day at Brighton. Do you look at him now as potentially playing more of a starting role?
Oh, he's hard. He'd started games before, but he's been out a long time. I think what Ozzy gives you, look, people talk about his versatility and he's been using number role, of course he has. But tactically he gets the game and he's been really good for me personally, whether it was in the last time in the Premier League or when we've been in the Championship. He gets the game, so he's a really, really important player for me, for us, how he goes about his work. So yeah, he's... always consider him for a starting role, but he's in a position now, he's been training now 3-4 weeks, more and more minutes. Yeah, his fitness will get better as he plays more games, of course it will, but in terms of us and me and anyone being worried about him physically with injuries, he's been fine.
You were speaking in between, or thinking about first half to second half after the Brighton game, about the idea of not panicking, as it were, and obviously that improved in the second half at Brighton. How much has that been a theme of maybe the work that you've been doing throughout the break then with the players?
Well, I think there's certain things we did a lot better in the second half against Brighton, which we focused on a lot, which are relevant for not only the Bournemouth game, but us going forwards. And a lot of that is about the intent I've spoken about. I think everyone understands how tough a league we're in, and dominating a game for 90 minutes, even if you're the top team in the world, is difficult. But it doesn't mean you can't get more control over the game. One, when you've not got the ball, and two, then imposing yourself on the game when you have got the ball. And that's been the sort of theme and the message. We're going to have difficult moments, but we have to ride them out and know how we get through that. And then we have to try and capitalise, like I said, when we're having good momentum in the game as well.
How many times in the last couple of weeks have you heard the phrase, Bournemouth, it's must win?
Yeah, there's lots of people already giving me the points, you know what I mean? It's
must
crazy.
Win, not will win.
Yeah, well, they're both. No, you only have to look at their last game against Newcastle. I thought they're really good. A team like Newcastle, who have generally got a lot of results because they really do impose themselves on teams and try and dominate all aspects of the game. I thought Bournemouth were really good in that game and thoroughly deserved it. We're on top in most aspects. So yeah, it's going to be difficult. We know that, we understand that. But I keep saying it, regardless of the opposition that's in front of us, we have to put ourselves in a position to take points. We're at home, it's Bournemouth, but whoever we're playing, I've mentioned the difficult away games we've had, mentioned difficult home games we've had. We've shown that we can put ourselves in these positions, and we have to. The last 2 games we've done it and got over the line and got points. That's been the difference.
Sheffield United have got 4 points from the last 6. I think Bournemouth have won 2 of the last 3. So something's clearly working with both. With them, what do you put that down to?
They've had moments go their way. Listen, the Newcastle game for them, they were pretty dominant. The Burnley game, I thought they were the better team against Burnley as well. But you still need moments to go your way. We say that all the time. So yeah, they scored at good times against Newcastle. Similar with Burnley, even though, Burnley had a real good strong start in the game in terms of the goal. Yeah, so we know what we're going to face. They'll be an athletic, physical team. Do a lot of work without the ball and how they want to press, how they want to break when they win the ball back. We have to understand that and realise that's a real big weapon for them. And also, like I said, make sure that we can create chances and make difficult moments for them and then capitalise on that.
Hi, Paul. It's important, isn't it, with these 2 coming up, Bournemouth and Burnley? You've got 4 points out of the last 6. Maybe the key to staying in this league is going on little runs where you stay unbeaten. So if you get another potentially 4 out of 6, that's going to potentially help you in the race to the end.
Points as often as possible. Get yourself in position to get those points as often as possible. That's the theme. It's not who we're playing, because it's Bournemouth, Burnley, 2 teams in the round, as people presuming that we're getting put. No, they'll be saying the same if that's the case. It's putting yourselves in that position as often as possible, and the fact going unbeaten is a big thing if you can keep a run going like that, or collecting so many wins in a block of games is really important if you can get a run going like that. So I'm not focusing on who's in front of us. I'm focusing on us going on those types of runs and making sure that, as I say, we've got more runs picking up points than we do, barren runs where it's a loss and no points are coming through the door.
How proud are you of the way that the squad and you yourself and your entire coaching staff have reacted to results and things not going your way, VAR, and still having that sort of togetherness and that confidence, which is important, isn't it?
Well, one thing I think we've done well, and I've said it to the staff, we've not changed too much in terms of personality and environment and how we want to work. It's results business, we get that, but I think we're really clear on how we have to behave and what's going to give us the best chance of winning, and panicking certainly not that. Going away from what we think where we think we're at our best is certainly not that. And also understanding, giving it some context, understanding why we had a difficult start, and then so we lost players, big players in the window, whether that was early on, whether that was just before the season kicked off. And the identity of the team changed, and then so we put ourselves on the back foot in the first few games, and then we make some good signings, and you see the standard in training, everyone lifts, and actually we could have and should have taken points in those moments and some of those games, which would have given everyone that, I see what Sheffield United are trying to do, but we didn't, and then that belief, everything goes. But there was a reason why we had a tough start. So that's why that win, even the manner of it against Wolves, so from a personal point of view, I really loved how the players celebrated that win. I really loved how the fans celebrated with the players. And we had a lot of players new through the door, well into double figures, who needed to feel that and needed to understand that. So, yeah, the wins keep going back while we're trying to keep a clear head and be really consistent with how we behave to get points. There's no denying that win was a big win. Picking up points is big. Otherwise, you're not getting the reward for the hard work you're putting in.
From a personal point of view, and I know that the finish line is a long way off, but if you were to keep this club in the Premier League this season, would that be your biggest achievement as a coach, as a manager?
Yeah, but that's not something that I'm honestly thinking about. Thinking about Bournemouth, as you've said, it's too far away. We need to do too much, way too much before that's even a possibility. At the minute, we're way behind where we need to be. But yeah, I think as I said, I think that's one of the things which we've done well as a group of staff. Is keeping cool, because no matter what, I'm giving you reasons why and understanding and being really clear about how I've seen the start of this season and the reason. But it's tough when you're not winning. It's tough, and to keep behaving in a certain way and driving certain things is tough. It's tough. But as I said, I'll say it over and over. We've done things like that really well, not just this season but last season as well.
Paul, you've actually moved up in the table without playing over the last 10 days. I was wondering what's happened with Everton. Has that provided the group with any positivity, some sort of boost for you?
No, because as I say, that's not going to help us get the points that we need. So no, not considering it. Like I say, I think it's more a bigger issue for football in general than it is for us as a club at Sheffield United. And I honestly mean that. It's a big decision, a big change, and I think it could have opened the door to a lot of other big things that may potentially happen. So I think it's bigger and more relevant for football than it is for us.
You sort of touched on it on another interview. Do you expect more charges for other teams? Do you think they'll start?
Yeah. If and when that did happen, I don't know. Yeah. Listen, the rules there, you can't punish one team and not others, We got punishment last season for a totally different issue, but the rules are there for a reason. Yeah, and you can't punish one, not the others, and then there has to be a consistency in these punishments and things like that. So, yeah, like I say, I think it's a bigger, more interesting issue for football than it is for us.
Would you expect Everton to still be able to pull away from it? Obviously, they've had a good start.
Listen, I said that when we played Everton. Anyone who's seen all their games, they've been a threat in most games. I think I can remember a game they played against Aston Villa where I thought they're second best. Apart from that, they've created chances. They've got results, yes, definitely, but they would have liked, and I'm sure they would if you're looking at the games they've played and could have easily had more. So if their form continues, I don't see any problem for them. Like I said, they may even use this and use it to galvanise them and as a group and a spirit. Feel like they've been wrongly dealt with. That's what you do. But yeah, from if I'm an outsider looking in, if I'm an Everton fan, I wouldn't be too worried about their performances so far. Obviously, the 10 points will hurt, but if they're going to be the rules, then you'd have to expect everyone else to be dealt with the same way.
Well, good stuff.
Cheers, mate. Hi, Paul. Just on the same theme for one, if you don't mind. Do you almost have to